Doing this one thing on Sunday can really help with the Sunday scaries. I absolutely notice the difference in my Sunday anxieties when I don't get to this, and that is planning my week. Drinking coffee in the morning, planning my week, everything else. These are the top highlights of my week. Welcome to your 30s. So in this video, I walk through the 4-step process I use to plan my week ahead. If you got my last video on how to plan your month, which I will take here, that was also a 4-step process. I sense a theme here. I'll be doing this video in the weekly Sprouted planner, but this absolutely applies to your weekly dashboard in your daily planner as well. Step number 1, reflect on the previous week. I'm a big believer in supporting our brain's natural way of processing things. I have zero science to back up this next claim, and I could, I guess, look it up, but I'm a little too lazy. But it helps me. So, boom, science. Reflecting on the previous week helps put the lid on the last week box and readies you to take the lid off of next week's box. Should my next career be a mime? Like, that was really good. Another analogy I like to use is just shutting the door. Reflecting shuts the door in last week, and then you can open the door onto next week. At the end of this month, I'm going to release a how to reflect video, so I don't want to get too granular here. But the best way is to keep it simple. Jot down the memorables, good and hard, acknowledge some wins / things you're proud of, and jot down any hards or struggles. You can get more profound than that. You can bullet point this, you could write it paragraph style, however you want. I just say keep it simple so that you actually do it. Once that's done, we move on to step number 2. Decide your intention for the week. Admittedly, I hate this step the most because I just want to deep dive into the details of my schedule. Anyone else? Hit that like button if you feel the same. You don't want to do the intentional work, you just want to fill out all the to-dos and schedule. I get it, but this is where the difference maker lies when we are trying to live an intentional life through planning. There is no right way or one way to do this, so I'm going to throw out some prompts to see what feels good and most aligned to you. Also, this spot up here at the top of your list, I built this to put your intention. So that's what this space was built for. You can use it however you want, but that was my intention when I designed it. So back to those prompts. Whatever feels good to you, here's kind of what I choose from. By the end of this week, I want my top priority or priorities this week are, this week, I'd like my average feeling to be, I'd like to focus on blank this week, or the value I'd like to focus on this week is. You can try a different one of these out every time to see what works best for you. The goal here is to have an intention that anchors the week instead of letting your schedule and your to-do list guide the boat. Next up, step 3, we have schedule. We flip to our monthly calendar to tell us what's on the schedule for the week. I'm going to be using my real life schedule here to show you how this will look. Double check your online calendar and fill in anything from there too. Okay, real life here. I made an oopsies when I was filming. I did not hit play when I started doing the to-do list. So we are just gonna walk through that here right now, and but it's already done over here. So let me just walk you through what I did, because step 4 is to-dos. So lastly, we fill out our to-dos. But first, notice how the to-dos are broken into 2 separate columns. That way you can have 2 separate lists if you want to. This is the daily view, just so you can see. Also broken out into 2 columns or groups there. You can break it out into 2 lists, or you can just make it 1 continuous list. You are a growing adult. You can do what you want. So as for me in my life, I break it into personal and business. Then there's this general invisible list I flow through when creating my to-dos, and they generally go like this, but you can do it in whatever sequence that you want. First, I look over at the calendar and I write in any to-dos associated with the things on my calendar. Then I reference the to-dos on my monthly tab and schedule in action steps for those. This is where when you wrote in these to-dos here, when you set up your month, this is what you're referencing. Some of these you can't get done in a week, so pick a progress that you can do on one of these, or maybe it is something you can do in the week. You just use your gut here. You know your schedule best. You know where you're at with these, so using what you know, write in your tasks for that here. Next, I review my emails for anything I need to do that week. And then lastly, after that, I just brain dump anything else that's left in the old noggin and needs to get out. So there you have it. That's my 4-step process on how I plan my week. And it served me well all these years later. So first, you reflect on the previous week. Next, you set your intention for the week. Third, you write in your schedule. And fourth, you write in your to-dos. You can add in any other steps you want. If you want to add in a tracker here, if you want to decorate, you can do that. But I think that's kind of the core for planning. Everything else is added on to whatever your little heart desires. So I've said it many times before, but planning is self-care. Include this little routine on your Sundays and it will help with those Sunday scaries because knowledge is power, baby. If you loved the format of this planner, this weekly layout, there are still more, but supply is definitely getting low on the weekly side. So head to sprouted-planner.com to grab one of your own. You can hover over planners, then weekly to check out all the beautiful color options. I have been working in Celadon Pinstripe. Now it is your turn. Let me know if you plan your week in advance, and bonus points if you let me know in what order you plan your week in. So what you do first, if you do schedule, if you do to-dos, how do you do that? For my weekly planner users, the buck stops here, mostly. But for my daily planners, stay tuned for next week when we talk about how to plan your day. Until then, catch my last video on how to plan your month, if you haven't yet, or check out my most recent Plan With Me weekly edition. Thank you for spending your precious time watching this video, and I will catch you on the next one.